Hi friends, hi, welcome. My name is August and today I'm going on a little adventure. I'm so geeked for this adventure because my really good friend reached out to me a while ago saying that she had like 6 giant bags or boxes full of books that she is ready to get rid of, and she wanted to go on a little free library adventure to drop off a bunch of books around the city, maybe find some books to bring home. At least that's mainly what I'll be doing today. And we're gonna go get some Taco Bell, go on a little road trip adventure, and see some really cute little free libraries. Come along with us. I'm very excited. I'm going to be getting rid of some books as well that I have in this bag. Most of them are just like 3-star books that, like, while I enjoyed them, I don't need to hang on to them anymore, and I think they will do better for other people. So hopefully I can spread some joy, some new books to people. And yeah, I'm really excited. Let's go. Hello friends, hi, hello, welcome. So I am feeling I use this phrase very often for myself. I know it doesn't really make sense, but I'm feeling very introverted out right now. It's basically when my introvert self gets my butt out of the house and I interact with humans, and then I really, really, really need to recharge. Like, I feel so exhausted. I overexerted myself socially, and I'm really tired right now. I'm just like not feeling my best, to be honest, right now. I'm feeling really like just so socially tuckered out, and like I'm sure some of you can relate to that feeling. Last week and this week have just been, you know, since being fully vaccinated and now my partner's fully vaccinated, there's just been a lot more of like making plans with people, which I love. I need to get my butt out of the house. I need to like be social and hang out with people. It's very important for our mental health and our stability as humans. But it takes so much out of me, and especially ever since COVID hit, like it takes so much out of me to interact with people in real life. Like I cannot express like how exhausting to me it is. I don't know. I'm rambling now, but I'm sure I'm not alone in that feeling. If you hear Winston, my cat, chatting in the background, he is trying to talk to the birds outside. And I think this is going to be a pretty common sound throughout the background of my videos now that it's springtime and the birds are just out. So like, I'm just gonna acclimate you all to that background noise because there's no way I can control it. And I'm not really one to scold my pets for making noise. So I apologize for the sound, but also he's just letting his inner animal out. So my friend and I went on this lovely adventure dropping off books. She had 6 massive bags of books to drop off. That was earlier this week, and I decided to include it in this vlog just to kind of condense some content for you all. I hope you enjoyed a little compilation of that, and I wanted to share some of the books that I did find in those little free libraries. Now, mass majority of the books I found or I picked up were actually from my friend. I ended up taking home an entire bag worth of her books. She has some really good stuff. So most likely I will be having another big book haul video maybe next month in June. Be on the lookout for that. Subscribe, stay tuned. Another big book haul coming soon. I ended up donating like 6 or 7 books and then ended up coming home with like 20. So I have a problem. But I wanted to quickly share the books that I did find because, oh my god, they're so good. They're so good and they're so cool. I found these 2 super old versions of Andersen's fairy tales and Grimm's fairy tales. Oh my gosh, look at those. They are stunning. And then inside, so this one is Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. And oh my god, look at that. Look at that inside. I cannot. It smells so old. It's so vibrant, so colorful. Then we have, oh my god, I cannot believe that somebody donated this. It's beautiful. I have never read fairy tales before. In one of my Thrift with Me videos, I did pick up a Norwegian folk tales book, and I'm really excited to dig into that, but I honestly I never grew up with fairy tales, so I'm really excited to read these at some point. But to be honest, what made me intrigued to pick them up was their age, and they just look like really beautiful, like collector's items. This is the Grimm's fairy tale collection. Let's pop that open as well. That is stunning. Does anyone else have these versions? I'm so curious. I don't know how old these are. They have really thin pages as well. Somebody left like a bookmark in here for the wolf and the 7 goats, and I'll block off their faces, but it's a photo of these 2 young boys in their suits. It's so cute. So that was just like such a lovely surprise when I opened it. Like, they're so wholesome. I wish I could share their faces because they're like cheese and hardcore. There's like, anyway, so I found those 2 books in one little free library book box. This was such a good find. And then the only other book that I found in an actual book box was this one, which I'm really curious to see if anyone else has read before, but it is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. This just sounds really interesting. It kind of sounds like a dark academic, maybe a portal fantasy, learning magic and magician stuff. I'm just really excited for this one. I feel like it's like really up my alley with a book that I could lose myself in and really enjoy, like magical realism. So Those legit are the only 3 books that I found. The entire rest of that bag are books that I found from my dear friend. So I started filming this vlog yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to sit down and talk with you all. But yesterday I did an entire spring cleaning of my house. It feels so good now. It feels so clean. I went through my wardrobe and I like got rid of a bunch of stuff and just kind of swapped over my summer and winter clothes, and I'm feeling really good about it. And I got to pull out this dress, which I love so much, and I kind of forgot about it in the back of my closet. Shall I do a little fashion show? I feel like a teacher on like the prairie. Like a little Annie Oakley. Anyway, let's chat about the books that I'm currently reading. Not gonna lie, since I last saw you all for my last reading vlog, I don't want to say I hit like a little bit of a reading slump, but I feel like I'm kind of in a little bit of a reading slump. So I actually ended up DNFing 2 audiobooks. It was a really struggling time. I ended up getting like 3 hours into an 11-hour audiobook. Can't even remember the name of it anymore, but apparently it like won some awards in like 2015 maybe. It takes place in Russia, and I just didn't care. I just could not connect with the characters. Like each chapter just like changed to a different character, a different topic, a different like kind of condensed little bubble. And it just felt like a short story collection, and I just wasn't connecting with it at all. So I ended up DNFing that one. Then I started a memoir that I actually own a copy of, and then I was like, I'm not liking this either. And I finally settled on Deep and Dark and Dangerous by Mary Downing Hahn. And oh my gosh, okay, this is a book that I read in middle school. Me and my childhood best friend, we read it together, and we both loved this book. It is creepy as shit. It is super eerie, and I saw it on Libby under like horror maybe, and I was like, oh my god, this is like a YA horror. It takes place in Maine on a lake, and I'm like, that is my freaking jam. Yes! So I started listening to that, and I'm having the best time ever. I still don't really remember what it's about or what ends up happening, so I'm really excited to dig into it more. But anytime I have downtime now, I'm like actually excited to listen to this book, and it's taken me a long time to be excited to listen to an audiobook. So I'm loving this one. We're reading from the perspective of a 13-year-old girl, and her mom is really sensitive and definitely has some like secrets and like some really intense anxiety. This main girl's aunt asks her to stay up at this cottage in Maine that her and the main character's mom, when they were sisters and when they were younger, they stayed at over the summer. And you're kind of picking up on vibes that something really bad happened back then that the mom and the aunt don't want to talk about. He is going nuts right now. And then the aunt has this younger daughter who's like 6 years old, who's like talking about this creepy person who's in the lake. And she wakes up from these nightmares saying like, the bones are coming out of the lake, the bones are coming out of the lake. And it's like so eerie. And there's something about this narrator as well. If you listen to it on audiobook, the narrator has a beautiful voice. I really like how she enunciates. She has this like really monotone voice, and it just makes the experience even freaking chilling or creepier. I'm just really having a good time with it. So yeah, some mysterious stuff is happening, and I'm really excited to dig into that one a little bit more. I think right now I'm about 20% in, so I'm really enjoying that. Then, when I ended last week's reading vlog, I had told you all that I had started reading Meet Me in Atlantis by Mark Adams. This is a nonfiction book that chronicles Mark's journey as he goes and tries to find the geographical physical location of Atlantis and where it could have been if it was real. I was really excited about this, and I started reading it and I was enjoying it. I liked that it was a little bit of a memoir as well. It just talks about Mark like meeting up with these academics, these scholars, talking about Atlantis, talking about Socrates and Plato, and like I just really liked that. I thought it was really enthralling. And then I kind of went through a phase where like I would only read it before bed, and I would fall asleep every single time. So it took me like 4 or 5 days just to get 30 pages in, because this lulled me right to sleep every time. If I knew I was tired, I'd pick this up and I'd fall asleep. So last night I got about like 60 pages in, and I was like, I can't. This book bounces all over the place, and in not a really good way. The author will just like randomly mention a scholar that he spoke with earlier, but they're based on their names, they're just like very plain, like John Greenberg and blah blah, and then he'll reference them by last name in the same sentence as like another scholar, and I'm like, who are you talking about? Who is this guy? What differentiates them from the last scholar you talked to? The storytelling and as well as the history of Atlantis is not linear in this book. It just didn't have any cohesiveness. And once I was honest with myself, I was like, yo, I just don't really like his writing style when it comes to actually giving us information. The writing style was accessible, but the information itself didn't really feel like I was retaining anything and I wasn't really learning anything extra. So I ended up DNFing this, and I don't have any plans to return to it. So that being said, last night I took a peek at the rest of my May TBR pile that I have, and I will link that video down below for you all, but my partner actually chose the books that I'm going to be reading for the entire month of May. So last night, before I fell asleep, I picked up The Hourglass Factory by Lucy Ribchester, and I'm really liking this so far. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. The front of it reads, provides the mounting suspense of a traditional whodunit, yet this is also a historical novel, including suffragette marches, the sinking of the Titanic, and the Jack the Ripper murders. So I like that it's like a murder mystery. Then there's also a lot of talk about the women's movement, the suffragette movement, as well as like historical monumental events that happened. I think it's going to be a really interesting book. I personally freaking love this font size. Look at that. So it's a big book, but the font is really accessible, easy to read, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm excited to keep reading this during this week's reading vlog. I hope I can get a good dent into it. So those are the two books that I'm reading currently, Deep and Dark and Dangerous and The Hourglass Factory. If you're really struggling to get through a book, and you're not having a good time and you're not enjoying it, put it down. Put it down, put it away. There are better books out there for you. Don't ever lose faith that there are better books out there for you. I hope wherever you are, you're doing really, really well. And thank you so much for being here and staying tuned. And I just appreciate you all so much. And I will check in with you all a little bit later. I am in my huggle. It feels really cold today. It's really sunny out, but it's freezing. Hi, Winston. Hi, sweetie. So I'm really struggling this weekend, I guess, for this vlog. I'm really, really struggling with just sitting down and reading. It feels impossible. Normally, maybe it was just because it was the colder months, I felt so perfectly content with just sitting and reading like the entire day. And now I just feel so antsy. I feel like I should be doing something better. You know, I've got a really bad case of the shoulds, and it's just been really hard. So I am enjoying my audiobook so much right now. Deep and Dark and Dangerous. I am probably like 60% of the way through. I only have 2 hours left. Oh, girl. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's really good. I'm loving it. It is so creepy. It's so eerie. We're introduced to this character. So our main girl, I always forget her name. It's like Annie or something. She is babysitting her younger cousin, Emma, while Emma's mom is a painter, and they're up at this cabin, this lakeshore cabin up in Maine, where some sketchy things were happening. And in comes this character, and I remembered this character. I haven't read this book since I was in like 6th grade, but I remembered this character, and her name is Sissy. And Sissy is a brat. Like, she is the freaking worst, and I feel like we've all known a Sissy in our lifetime, especially young girls. Oh my gosh. I don't want to spoil a lot of like the creepy stuff that's been happening. I definitely recommend this audiobook though. It's YA, so it's just like it's quick, it's creepy, I'm just having so much fun. So I thought, instead of forcing myself to sit down and physically read right now, I'm gonna do what I did last night, which is something that I started doing last fall, which is color in my Harvest home coloring book. A lot of these colors I had to mix myself, and I'm very proud. Like this beet color, those are 2 different markers. That's 2 different markers. This like orangey color, that's 2 different colors. I'm really proud of myself. But this is just such a fun way for me, and I feel like if anyone else really struggles with like feeling a little too antsy or needs to do something with their hands and reading just doesn't feel good, to listen to an audiobook and do something else with your hands. And I highly suggest coloring. It's just a lot of fun. So let's pick some coloring to do. Should we do this cat one? Oh, let's do this cute cat. Let's do that. Okay, we're gonna color this cute cat. We're gonna listen to this audiobook. Ta-da! There it is! Was able to finish, literally just finished listening to Deep and Dark and Dangerous. This was such a fun book. It was such a fun little treat. It felt very summery. I love ghost stories, YA, like it was just really easy to sink into and listen to and get freaked out by. And it still had some like, some good old kind of cheesy, campy YA stuff. So overall, it was just a lot of fun. I had a great time listening to this book, and I think I'm gonna give it like 4 stars. Wasn't my favorite book of all time, but I needed it, and it was so much fun, and it was really cool to listen to it after reading it many moons ago. So I'm really proud that I was able to finish a book in this vlog. I didn't think I could do it, but I did it! Yay! And while I finished that book, I obviously have not finished reading The Hourglass Factory yet, but I have made a significant dent. I think I'm about like halfway through now, at least. I'm at the start of chapter 24, page 240, and I'm still definitely enjoying this. I don't think I chatted much about the plot, but basically we are just bouncing between kind of 2 perspectives right now. One is Frankie, who is a young female journalist. She really wants to be able to write more hard-hitting news, but they keep giving her quote-unquote like ladies stories, and the suffragette movement is going on right now. A lot of really big groups of suffragettes are continuously being thrown into jail all the time. They're destroying buildings, they're causing riots. There's just a lot of like politics. We're able to sit in on a trial as these suffragettes are being sentenced to jail and prison and stuff. So it's very interesting, and it's really enthralling, it's really engaging. Majority of this book is dialogue as well, so it's just really enjoyable. The other perspective we're reading from is this Detective Primrose, and he is this detective who's put onto a special units case that handles suffragettes, and there's just a lot of different things going on right now. What are you doing, dude? he has this weird thing with like eating his own tail. So there's a lot going on in this book and I'm finding it really interesting. There's a really famous acrobat artist in here named Ebony Diamond, and a lot of chaos surrounds her. It definitely feels like her life is in danger because every time that Frankie tries to interview her for the newspaper in regards to the suffragette movement and her upcoming like performances as an acrobat artist, bad things start to happen. People around her are getting murdered. And so it's just kind of this like classic whodunit. It's really interesting. I like the atmosphere a lot of it being set in London in 1912. There's just a lot of like actual historical moments that are happening too. So it's really engaging. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but it hasn't fully gripped me. It hasn't been like a wow book. It hasn't really been much of a page turner for me, but it's enjoyable and the writing style is very accessible, and like I said, majority of it is dialogue, so it feels like it's just kind of propelling itself forward. So it's I'm excited to read this and then to tell you all about it in my May wrap up. But yeah, I'm happy I was able to read a good, over 200 pages of this week. So there we have it, my dear friends. That's another weekly reading vlog. Thank you all so incredibly much for being here. I hope you're all doing really well. I would love to hear what you've read this weekend or what you're currently reading. And I will see you all again very soon. Stay cozy, my friends. Bye!